Hey, welcome back. In the previous video, we installed Express and NodeMon to our dev dependencies. We created some routes over here for our application, and we're now able to serve our application listening to port 3000. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, I post up tutorials, tips, and tricks for web development, especially for developers that are just getting started. If that's the sort of content you're interested in, please do subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started with structuring our Express app. Let's create a couple directories here. We'll do new folder, controllers. We'll do new folder, routes. Okay, within routes, we'll do another new folder, API. We'll also do new file, index.js. Index.js. Okay, and what else do we? I'll also create within here. I'll call users.js. Okay, so our API will be looking at users, and it could be anything. Could be blog, could be content, could be posts, could be pages. But we'll go with users. Now let's take a look here. First thing I want to take a look at is our index.js for our routes. And what we'll do here is I'll do express. This will be called router. Need to call a router. And what we'll do here is instead of app like we use on app.js, we'll be using router. Router.get. Just grab this here. So this and replace this. What we need to do here is we need to do module.exports equals router. We're bringing this in. We created a route and we're exporting it. Now, what we need to do here is we need to add it to our app. Okay, so let's get rid of this. And we'll get rid of this. And what we'll do here is we'll use require. We'll do routes. This is referencing this directory. And since it's index.js, it's going to be using this file. Okay. So if I go back to, if I do npm run start, API should be broken now, so that doesn't work. But if I go to here, this still works now. Okay, so we've removed, basically, we're telling our Express app to use this to manage our routes now through this kind of middleware. In here, what we could do here is we can also add our API route. This can be API index, and it should be back now if we do. Okay, so that's now back. What I want to do here is I want to also now use another middleware to kind of tell it to use this. Because I want this file to manage all of our APIs. So if we weren't just using an API, or if we weren't just building an API, if you had an API within your routes and then you had a bunch of other routes, then this would manage all your APIs, and this one would tell it to go to APIs, and you could manage all your rest of your routes or your public type pages within here. Okay. Now, if we were using not/API, we did API.localhost, and your full domain was specific for APIs, then you could forego this part and just go with this. Okay, but since we're doing it within a /API, this is how we're going to do it. Let's grab this. It'll be the same thing. This will be here. Get rid of this. And within here, we'll do router. Let's grab this. And within here, API, we'll tell it to go to API. Okay, so that should work. And let's take a look at index here. Routes. Okay, that's good. So if I refresh this, yeah, so that's still the same. Functionality wise, we haven't done anything different. We've only kind of restructured where our code is going in our application. Make that full screen again. Now let's go into controller. I'm going to create a new file. This will be user. Yes. In here, I'm going to do exports.index. Request and response. Arrow function. Response.send. And this will be user index. And here, let's duplicate this. And I'll do this as list all. This will be list all. Let me save that. Now what I want to do here is over here. So let's grab this. We'll import users controller will be. So we need to go back to folders. So here 1, 2, and then go into controller. Okay, so now we have access to users here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call this, replace this anonymous function and put this as index. Now, I don't know if I referenced this yet. Let's grab this. And what we'll have here, have users and users. We don't need to tell it to go to, like this doesn't need to be API because it's within this folder. So this would be, this is this endpoint, and this is going to this endpoint. Within our users, this file here for within our API, this goes here to this index. And if I go and that, this should be a list. What did I name this? Oh. If there's no errors there, this, if I go to users, it goes to user index. And if I do /list, it goes to list all users. And these two functions here are within this controller. So it's this is a little bit complicated for our example for this tutorial series. Like we could make it a lot less complicated with a lot less files, but if we were to build it out and have multiple models, multiple controllers, it makes it a lot easier to manage multiple. But since we're only using just one user, it may seem pretty complicated to have all these different files set up like that. Like we could have just done here and just built our functions anonymously, like have it like this all the way down and forego this whole controller part. But, you know, it's good to separate and make it all modular. Now, in the next video, we'll take a look at our data layer, MongoDB, and how to set that up. So I'll talk to you guys hopefully in the next video. Hey, if you've gotten this far, thanks for the support. This will help the channel grow. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to click the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below. To stay updated with the latest content from the channel, you can subscribe by clicking right here in the middle.